today's presidential classic here at Ford Stadium along the Potomac. I'm your host, Caray, sitting alongside my pal and color commentator, Calvin Silent Cal Coolidge. We've got a great matchup for you today between the Republicans and the Democrats. Now here's your lineup. Leading off for the Democrats is the lanky third baseman, Thomas Jefferson. Batting in the number 2 spot, we've got James Monroe. That guy's got some real range there at shortstop. Batting third is the catcher, Andrew Jackson. Man, oh man, that guy is a tough out. Cleaning up for the Democrats is JFK. He's had some health issues recently, but Team Dr. Marilyn Monroe inspected him, and assures us that he is ready for action. Batting in the number 5th spot is the S-Man. Yes, it's Harry Truman, playing right field today. Batting 6th is the designated hitter, Bill Clinton. Man, that guy's exploits with the lumber are world-renowned. Batting in the 7th spot today, we've got James K. Polk, an undrafted free agent who's a dark horse candidate to win the Gold Glove in center field. Man, that guy just takes up a whole lot of territory. Batting 8th, we've got James Buchanan, batting the Keystone position, also known as second base for you amateurs. And rounding out the lineup today, I am pleased to bring you number 42, Barack Obama.
And on the mound for the Democrats, we've got a late switch. FDR was scheduled to make the start, but he's been placed on the 60-day DL with a really bad case of polio. So the Dems will hand the ball off to the fireball and founding father himself, James Madison. And for the Republicans, we've got John Adams is tasked with leading off against the Democrats, and he's had a well-known rivalry with Democrat pitcher James Madison. Next, we've got Teddy Roosevelt patrolling the outfield grass of center field. He runs swiftly and carries a big bat. In the crucial third spot is Abraham Lincoln, the oversized third baseman from Kentucky, ready to drive in some runs for the Republicans. Batting cleanup is the consummate team player, Ronald Reagan, the right fielder. He really puts a lot of emphasis on his defense. After that, we certainly like Ike. It's Dwight D. Eisenhower, batting 5th. Following up is the first baseman, Richard Nixon, coming under some serious scrutiny for his alleged PED use and his subsequent denials. In the 7th spot today, we've got the thunder-belting bat of William Howard Taft. That guy can really muscle a pitch out there if he can get to first base.
That's funny.
8th up is catcher Herbert Hoover. He's a real crowd favorite whose loyal fan base occupies the left field bleachers, which we call Hooverville. And closing out the lineup for the Republicans is left fielder William McKinley, who's not only coming off a suspension for starting a brawl with players from the Spanish national team at the World Baseball Classic in Havana, but is also recovering from a severe abdominal injury.
Man, that's a pretty stacked lineup if you ask me. But taking the mound today for the Republicans is, what's his name? Warren G. Harding. He's trying to reestablish a sense of normalcy on the mound for the Republicans after they got beaten the heck out of them by the Progressives in that 3-game set last week. Here come the umpires trotting out onto the field. John C. Marshall behind the plate. He'll be calling the balls and strikes. Approaching home plate are the two managers, Aaron Burr and Alexander Hamilton, to exchange lineup cards. And folks, don't let it be denied that they do not like each other at all. Now, afterwards, we will have George Washington, a 2-time All-Star and an MLB legend, throwing out the first pitch today. We've got a great program for you guys here, so just keep it real and keep it here to see the presidential classic. We've got the stars for you today, man. We've trotted them out. We have Andrew Jackson, the Democratic team captain, as well as Abraham Lincoln, the Republican poster boy. We'll be talking with Washington as well as the Sinclair Player of the Year, William Henry Harrison. Also coming up after the break, after we have the word from our sponsor, U.S. Steel, we'll be meeting with the Ford Stadium manager, Woodrow Wilson, for an interview. Keep it right here, folks, and we'll be right back with more action.
I've been building bridges most of my life, but none like this. What we're doing, we're using these two cableways to move 90-ton pieces of steel some 2,000 feet across this beautiful gorge. That's the kind of job we take on at U.S. Steel's American Bridge Division. When we're finished, West Virginia has the longest steel arch span in the world. That's productivity. At U.S. Steel, we're involved.
Welcome here, Mr. President Wilson. It's good to have you on the show.
It is certainly good to be here, Harry.
Now, as I understand it, you've been making some groundbreaking changes to baseball. Could you speak a little about that to the fans?
Yes, for the first time, women are allowed within the proximity of the ballpark.
Hey, now that is a pretty radical plan. But what I was referring to is the astonishing lack of alcohol. I couldn't find myself a tall, cool Budweiser anywhere. Your thoughts?
It was agreed that temperance of Americans' thirst for spirits would do the country a little good.
We heard that you had some other big changes planned for the league.
Yes, I have an extensive 14-point plan for the future of the league. Foremost among them is the creation of an international league of baseball. Let the World Series be the World Series.
But wasn't that proposal shot down by League Commissioner Lodge?
Yes, silly Lodge. Shut it down. But things that are shut down by Lodge hardly ever stay down. I'm touring the country day and night. The American people will be on my side, and we will have an international league of baseball.
Well, thank you for your time today, Woodrow.
Wow, that's impressive. Thank you very much, Mr. President. I appreciate you coming on with us, and have a good day.
You are welcome. Thank you for having me.
Hey, now welcome back, baseball fans. It's time for the scoreboard update. In the Battle of the Bay, it's the Cuban Rebels 0, Fidel Castro 1. Not too much of a surprise there. In AA news today, we've learned that Charles Sumner of the AA Senators has hit the 7-day concussion disabled list. He beat a player on the opposing team, and the irate player Preston Brooks came right up to the mound, charged him, and hit him in the head with his bat. So he'll be out for a little bit.
On the free agent market, players William Jennings Bryan, Henry Clay, and John Calhoun have still not been offered a contract by either team and are awaiting their call to the majors. Now in the studio, we'd like to welcome fan favorites Andrew Jackson and Abraham Lincoln.
Pleasure to be with you.
Thank you for hosting us.
Howdy, guys. The first question for you guys today is for Andrew Jackson. Mr. Jackson, is it true that you've cut the famous tomahawk chop fan celebration from your stadiums?
Of course I did. No one would want some kind of barbarianism like that on a stadium. If I hear that word one more time, I will show them my chop.
Oh, that's good to know, Mr. Jackson. Now, this is just a rumor, but I heard that you wanted to cut your ties with your corporate sponsor, the U.S. National Bank. Now that you're in a contract year, do you think that it's a smart idea to be cutting your ties when it could affect the outcome of your new contract?
Do you know who you're talking to? Andrew Jackson.
Yeah.
I will get sponsored by whoever I want, okay? I don't need the bank.
Oh, well, that's good to know. I appreciate your tenacity. I'm a tenacious guy myself, you know. Now we're going to turn to the 16th overall pick in the presidential draft, Abraham Lincoln. Now, I've heard that you played for the Northside Chicago Cubs, and we were just wondering, your insights on the rivalry with the South Side, which is a pretty bad neighborhood as I understand it.
Well, I mean, it was quite a struggle, but after my third year with the Cubs, we turned our hardships around and ended up with a winning record at the end of my tenure.
Wow, that's pretty impressive, Mr. Lincoln.
Now, we understand that you're the first big proponent for a league-wide draft to take effect. How has the reaction been to that plan?
Well, to tell you the truth, it's been quite a battle. Not many people up north like the idea and are restricting it rather doggedly.
Well, here's another question coming right at you, Mr. Lincoln. Now, how does it feel being back playing at Ford Stadium here on the Potomac?
Well, I mean, it feels pretty good. The crowd has been pretty accommodating and is a nice place to come to after that hard-fought 4-game series with the Rebels earlier this week. Now we just have to face reconstructing our roster after some crucial injuries, including...
Holy cow! Oh my God, a fan threw a baseball at the back of Mr. Lincoln's head, and oh my God, he's dead! Security ran after the guy, but we're gonna take a pause here, but we'll have a word from our sponsors for our uniform providers, the Triangle Shirtwaist Factory. Oh my God! Welcome back, baseball fans. While we were at the break, we had some breaking news. During the game, a major brawl broke out. Pitcher James Madison threw one right into the strike zone. However, John Marshall called it a ball. Now the batter, John Adams, agreed with Marshall saying that it was a ball, and Madison was hopping mad on the mound. Then the benches started to clear and the two teams began to fight it out. Even managers Aaron Burr and Alexander Hamilton ran out onto the field to get their punches in right in the middle of the scrum, and bang! Aaron Burr pulled a gun on Hamilton and shot him, and holy cow, folks, he's dead! Oh, there were ejections afterwards, let me tell you. Madison was promptly thrown out of the game, and Adams was thrown out too for instigating the fight.
Now replacing Madison on the mound is the flamethrower Franklin Pierce. Coming into the game for John Adams is Rutherford B. Hayes. And we'll be right back after a word from our sponsor, Liberty Bonds. Rounding out our guests for today are big league legend George Washington, as well as guest player William Henry Harrison for our annual Sinclair's Player Spotlight. If it's a hot dog from Sinclair's, you know it's 100% beef.
Howdy! William Henry Harrison! It's great to see you again. Can I call you Bill?
Sure, go right ahead.
Alright. Well, Bill here, man, that guy's such a trooper. During a rain delay during a game last week, he braved the monsoon to give us an exclusive interview. Man, that was some good stuff you gave us there, Bill.
It was my pleasure.
Alright.
You seem to have a bit of a cold there, Mr. Harrison. Anything serious?
No, I'll be fine. Just a slight case of pneumonia.
Oh my God.
Finally tonight, we turn to George Washington, tonight's honored guest and a two-time All-Star. He sure set an example for the other players, retiring after only 8 years in the majors and playing in 2 presidential classics. What led you to such a decision?
Well, I just felt it was time to retire. The league was splitting up and I thought it would really hurt the game. I also was not in favor of playing in the World Baseball Classic, so I thought it was time to hang up the cleats and let the youngsters have a go.
Man, what a story of determination, heart, and courage. But I have to ask you, George, was that whole thing with the cherry tree real? I mean, I'm just a curious kind of guy. Curious like a cat. That's why my friends call me Whiskers.
Of course it's true. I never tell a lie.
Ah, well that's all, baseball fans. I hope you had as much fun as we did today at the Presidential Classic. Don't miss next week's installment of Monday Night Baseball, featuring the New York Know-Nothings versus the San Francisco Free Soilers. It's gonna be a doozy. Anyway, folks, that's all. With Sally Cal and Harry Caray, have a good night, everybody. Cubs win! Cubs win! Man, that guy's a really tough out. Batting fourth for the Democrats today in the cleanup position is someone I forgot. That's why I was stalling so long.
Shit, kid.
You want to retake the...
I hope you're alright, man. It was some good stuff you gave us.
Finally tonight, we turn to George Washington, tonight's honored guest and a two-time All-Star. You sure set an example for the other players, retiring after only 8 years in the majors and playing in 2 presidential classics. What led you to such a decision? Wrong line.
Where the is Mr. Washington? Well, now we're gonna turn to the 16th President of the United States, Abraham Lincoln, right?
That's for sure. That's my name.